This is the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network.
I'm not making any money talking these days. Good Christ. I'm a dick, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. Still am. I guess I am a decent guy because I'm a fucking jerk. And I'm not a jerk. Apparently I'm a dick. I'm not an awful guy, but I've done so much ridiculous stuff. I'm an awful guy. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast. Things are good. It's 2010, January. That's the dog days of winter. Is that true? That's not true. They don't call it. It's the dog days of summer. We need a term for winter. We need a term because this is the awful. Come on, this is the awful part of the year, right, folks? It is freezing in Los Angeles. It has got to be 55 degrees outside. Oh my Christ, is it cold? I say that as a taunt to all of you who can barely hear me underneath snowdrifts. I don't know what you folks are doing. I can tell you that I sympathize with you because I can't. I may sound muffled to you coming through snowdrifts, but I'm muffled in my own head right now because I'm dizzy, folks. I'm very dizzy, and I think it's there's a history with me. All right, let's go into my history. You guys know me, and you know what my history is. I'm a guy who won't put Q-tips in his ears at all. And I know you're not supposed to, which is fine. But then you're supposed to still like use oil or candles or whatever the fuck to clean your ear out. Well, I don't. I kind of put it off and put it off and put it off. And now I find myself dizzy again. And this is usually a precursor to me having to go to the emergency room and getting a Mounds bar pulled out of my ear. So I have to go home after this and pour a bucket of peroxide into my head and hopefully that'll get fixed. And it's funny because I have to do that, and tomorrow I've got the dentist. The dentist tomorrow has to get out his instruments of destruction and go into my mouth and pull out all my old fillings and then jam in porcelain and needles in the mouth and all that. So tomorrow from the neck up, folks, I'm gonna be incapacitated. That's not good at all. So it's good that we're doing the podcast today because you know what? Maybe I should do it tomorrow. Wouldn't that be great? I'll come in tomorrow with Novocaine and a fucked up mouth and crazy peroxide ears, and maybe I'll just cut, take a razor and cut patches into my hair too. I'll fuck up my whole head tomorrow, and then come in and do the show while I'm doing that. That's a great idea. Yeah, it is the dog days of winter. Again, we can't call it that. We can't call it. We need a term. What could it be? We need a term for winter. I'll figure it out. Because January and February are awful. I mean, because football has ended. There's football playoffs, but so what? I mean, but that's how you get. I mark times by sports, and now I'm counting time until baseball shows up because I don't give a fuck about college basketball. Nobody cares about that. Not even people in college care about that anymore. It's just we're all just drifting. That's what we're doing. People in college who claim to like college basketball, you're lying. You're just drifting, waiting for your life to end. All right, so that seems harsh. That's a harsh indictment of college football fans or basketball fans. I'm sorry, folks. My brain is frozen from my crazy dizzy head and the fact that it's the dog days of winter. Again, I need to think of something. What could it be? Well, they always say what cold is a witch's tit, right? Don't they say that? I don't like that though. I always hated that phrase. How about let's call it, you know what? This is the corpse vagina of winter. How about that? It's that's freezing, right? That's got to be cold. And it's cold and it's a struggle to get through. It's unforgiving and you have to deal with it once every year. All right. So, you don't have to deal with it once a year. Really? A corpse vagina? Nobody does. All right. That doesn't, but I say we catch that on, folks. What do you say? The dog days of summer, the corpse vagina of winter. Although that doesn't really roll off the tongue, and that's not actually a good choice of words for corpse vagina. Sorry. All right. But I like it. That's what I'm going to stick with it. The corpse vagina of winter. All right. I want to name the show that just to see people just never download it. Just go, oh, I don't, or conversely, download it immediately and go, what the fuck does that even mean? The corpse vagina of winter. It sounds like the worst Grimm's fairy tale of all time. Just like where Hansel and Gretel climbed into the corpse vagina of winter and were never seen again. And then they wound up in Narnia and they fought a lion in a closet. All right. He's not in a closet. He's in a wardrobe. But not in the corpse vagina. It's a closet. Oh man. I'm sorry, folks. I'm distracted because I got to go to the dentist tomorrow, and I got to talk. You know what? I have to go to the dentist tomorrow and talk to him about my finger. Yeah, that's weird. Because I showed Lily, I have a gash on my right index finger. I have floss finger. I've invented a disease, folks, because what it is I take the floss and you wrap it around your fingers, and then I go to you go to work on your teeth, and I've just been instructed to do this, so I take it seriously now, man. I floss and brush and crazy mint rinse 3 times a day. Um, in doing so, I'm about to sever my fingertip because from grinding my floss it bites into my finger and it's opened up a little mouth. So now, I guess it's fitting dentistry and flossing. I have a second mouth now on my finger, and and I can't. And it's funny because I show Lily and I'm like, "Oh, Jimmy!" Like I make him talk and stuff. And the worst part about what he looks like? It looks like the flute in HR Puffin stuff. That's what it looks like. It looks like, oh, Jimmy, save me! Like that's who he looks like. So now I carry that around with me, and I tell Karen sees it, and she has no solutions. So maybe tomorrow the dentist will have a solution for me regarding my finger. And Lily says I'm flossing too hard, but I don't think that's possible. I mean, I from what I was warned by the dentist, if I don't floss and take care of business, I'm gonna, every tooth's gonna fall out of my head, and I'm gonna look like some fucking, triple X jug carrying hillbilly. I don't want to be that guy. So if it means second mouth on finger, I got to grind away at the plaque and tartar that I've built up. I don't know. This show is a whiff. What a brick this show turned out to be. Good Lord, what are we? We're 5 minutes in, and I don't even doubt that you folks are just like, oh, what's going on? There's no way we can listen to another hour and 20 minutes of this. And yes, it will be another hour and 20 minutes of this, of me talking about horrible, holes on my body where that shouldn't be there. All right. I got nothing. It's 2010, man. It's a new relaxed type of show. This is a relaxed atmosphere. This is what I do. I just lay back and tell you about what's happening right now at this very second. And I'm dizzy. I wish I wasn't dizzy. I'm distracted. I'm not going to lie to you folks. I'm distracted by being, I'm, because when I move, I feel drunk. Like, or when you move your head and you stop your head, but it feels like your head keeps moving. That's where I'm at right now. And, I'm looking forward to, I gotta go home and I gotta clean my head. All right. Wow. Hopefully the new year's treating you better than it's treating me, folks, because apparently I'm falling apart physically and mentally right before your very ears. I mean, that's terrible. You hear this all falling apart right now. Show 42. This is my age. It's the show of my age. 40. I'm 42 on show 42, and look what happened. It turned into a mess. Last year, show 41 I was 41 when I did show 41. Or was I? I might have been 42 when I did show 42 last year. Yeah, I should have covered this last year, folks. I should have matched up 42 and 42 last year. All right. That's our friend Lily struggling to help me through by fake laughing. She's going, I've got to do anything to bail this guy out. Yeah, I don't doubt it at this point. This is fucking tragic. I'm out of sorts. I will tell you because like I said, my ears. I'm anticipating the dentist tomorrow, and again, I like when the dentist is tooling around in there with the sharp instruments, but I don't like the needle. Like I don't mind it. I know it's over quick, but I hate when they're like, oh, you're gonna feel a little pinch, and then they jam a fucking yardstick into your mouth. Oh, good Christ, that hurts. But just for a second, it hurts. But it was so funny. He told me last time, he's like, you're going to feel a little pinch. And I actually kicked, like a double kick my feet when he did it, because it was like, and he goes, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I mean, that was a little more than a little pinch. As you just did the needle come out the back of my neck? I mean, how did that work? Because Jesus Christ, I feel awful. But then it was like all of a sudden, then the Novocaine kicks in, and then I laid there and watched soccer with my mouth open for 90 minutes as a team of men spelunked into my mouth and did whatever they had to do. Lily, you've had a team of men spelunk into your mouth, haven't you? That was funny. All right. I could just laugh for an hour. I should just laugh for an hour, and you folks could listen to it. It'd be like one of those bad iPhone apps, that you can get. It's like, oh, it makes shotgun noises. Well, I should just make an app of me laughing. This podcast will download this and make it a ringtone. It'll just be me laughing on your phone. Stupid. And I want to thank everybody who sent me all of their illicit ways to make ringtones. By the way, last week. I think I received 25 people who were like, hey, you can go to this. And not one of them repeated a website. That was what was even crazier to me. I at least 25 people sent me a way to turn Escape from New York into a ringtone. Not one of them sent me to the same place. Like, they all have a different way of turning something to a ringtone. God, everybody loves the internet, don't they? It's the fucking wild, wild west. I'm out of sorts, folks. Because you know why? Because I'm starting to realize just how small I am in the scheme of things. How tiny I am, really, in the show business or entertainment industry. I mean, you guys are great, and I appreciate you following along, and I would hope to get more of you following along. Although this week's effort is not going to do anything towards that. But I went and saw Avatar, and sat there completely overwhelmed by the achievement and the accomplishment of James Cameron, and realized just how far out of the loop I am. I always joke about having a tenuous finger in show business, or I'm like literally, if show business were a building, I'm holding on by my fingernails on the ledge at the top, trying not to plummet to my death. But I got to be, I am not even. They shouldn't have even allowed me to come in and see that movie. That's how far out of the entertainment loop I am. Jesus Christ, Avatar! What a fucking unbelievable accomplishment. Did you see it? I'm sure you saw it. Lily hasn't seen it yet, unfortunately. But and I don't want to spoil. I know there's going to be. I'm not going to spoil anything because honestly, whether you know what's in it or not, you have to fucking see it. I mean, it's literally, it's an event at this point now. It's something that you need to see. It's something you need to do. You need to do it if only to go in and at some point in the movie, because I saw it in 3D. Because by the way, if you're seeing it, you have to see Avatar in 3D. Seeing it in 2D, I don't know, I'm sure it's fine, but you got to see it in 3D because it's retarded. I mean, it is ridiculous how amazing it is. Oh Christ, I can't. And it just drives home exactly how what I do is nothing. How it's just nothing. How I sit down and I talk, and that's great, and I like what I do, and I enjoy bringing it to you folks. I'm not going to lie to you, but then you sit in a theater and you're just overwhelmed by this guy created a world. Seeing it was the way I imagine people my age felt when they saw Star Wars in '77, because you just and all right, let's deal with this now. Is Avatar the best script? No, it's not. All right, I understand that, and I laughed out loud several times inappropriately at parts, because there's a colonel in here who is ridiculous and crazy, over the top. He might as well. He looks like he stepped out of a comic book. Like he still looks like he's been drawn. And one of those guys chomping on a small cigar with big muscles and leathery skin. Like it just looks. I mean, he's awful in it. And it's so funny. I keep hearing everybody's like, "Oh, that Colonel guy was good." No, not good at all. I mean, he was outacted by the Blue Monkeys that are in the goddamn movie. For Christ's sake, it's like, and I. By the way, that's not a pejorative term. I mean, they're called Blue Monkeys at some point in the movie. No, it's actually Giovanni Ribisi's character who calls them Blue Monkeys, and I will tell you this: it is startling when he says it in the theater, because you're already drawing the parallel of they're a different race, and white people against them. And I will tell you, that's another thing, because everybody's all freaked out because they're coming forward and they're saying the people who want to protest Avatar, which. You know what? Fucking grow up. Okay? What are you protesting a goddamn movie? Everybody's like, oh, it's anti-white people. It's anti-military. Fuck you. Do you people have nothing better to do with your lives? Go out of your house. Look around. There's a homeless guy. Go help him. Go buy him a hot dog or something. Go to the bank and bitch at them. What are you bitching? There's plenty of things in the real world to be pissed off about. Now, no reason to get mad at a movie. If anything, I don't even think this movie was anti-white or anti-military. You know what I think this movie was? Anti-Earth. And fuck yeah, I'm on board with that. It was anti-people, and I'm all for that because I fucking hate people. And not you folks, of course. I'm sure you're all lovely. But come on, how many times do I have to go to a grocery store or a gas station and just look around and go, I ain't fucking, it's a good thing I do not have a fucking automatic rifle, because Jesus Christ. Because they would need 4 reporters and a mop. Seriously. Oh. You got to see Avatar, if only to get in there, and at some point, just because in the middle of the movie, at one point, take off your 3D glasses and look around. That's what I was going to say. You need to just look around at everybody and realize we're all stupid. That's it. Just realize you paid $19 to sit in a room and put on stupid glasses with everybody, these people you don't know. And it just seems perfectly acceptable. In any other time in your life, would you pay $20 for the privilege of looking dumb with a bunch of people you don't know? No. Of course you wouldn't. But for Avatar, you'll do it. You should do it. You should do it again, if only to just make yourself feel small in the scheme of things. Because James Cameron he is the king of the world. He said it, and then he proved it, like 15 years later. He is the king of the world. It's not 15 years, like 8 years. Who cares? Guy invented a world and a language. He invented a language in that movie. Sure, it's a bunch of all that nonsense, but so what? Oh, Christ. He invented the cameras to make this movie. He thought of this movie so long ago that the technology didn't exist, and then he hung around and waited until they could invent the technology. I talked to you folks. He made Aliens. He made Terminator 2, for God's sakes. I'm a fucking ant in the afterbirth. Jesus Christ, I am an insect compared to James Cameron. It's certainly an entertainment wise. I don't know about as a person. He could be a jagoff. Who knows? But we all know I'm a jagoff, so why would I even compare that? You know what? That's when I beat Cameron. I'm a bigger jagoff than Cameron. How about that? I'm more of a God. I'm all of us, folks, are afterthoughts when it comes to James Cameron. He is a better person than all of us. He is certainly far more advanced creatively and as a human being. I'm saying if you see James Cameron, just fall to your knees. I guess that's what I'm saying. And yes, the script is not good. I mean, it's silly, it's pointless and foolish. But who cares? Sigourney Weaver's in it and she's smiling. Come on, that's more than enough. That's all you need for a successful movie. Goddamn, Sigourney Weaver's the greatest. Folks, and then there's a whole sequence in there. It's so funny. He waited this long to build the technology and make this movie. He also had to wait around for apparently 9/11 to happen, because there is a scene in there there is a sequence of about 10 minutes that is 9/11. It is certainly it's the 9/11 for the aliens, but I mean But it's still a 9/11 to the point where, I mean, there's even like stuff drifting through the air and people on their knees sobbing and flames. Dude, it's brutal. I haven't seen anybody mention that. Everybody just mentions the fact that, it's anti-Earth and it's apparently Fern Gully. I keep hearing that from everybody. Oh, it's, my friend Chris Mancini called it Pocahontas in space. And then I saw it and yeah, he's absolutely right. That's exactly what it is, Pocahontas in space. But you know what? What's wrong with Pocahontas in space? Go see it. It's fucking great. God, I just get so mad at people who are like freaking out and like, oh. And then I saw Sherlock Holmes, and look, I liked Sherlock Holmes. I thought it was great. Robert Downey Jr. did a really nice job in it, but inevitably, this is how powerful Avatar is. You walk out and just go, well, how did that compare to Avatar? Like, as I walked out of Sherlock Holmes, I had my Bears jersey on, and this woman said, hey, you're from Chicago? We struck up a conversation, and inevitably it ended with us talking about Avatar. Like that, like we had just sat through 2.5 hours of Sherlock Holmes, along with the best movie so far released in 2010, the Iron Man 2 trailer. Yeah! And we watched all of that, and yet on the way out, it was all, oh, Avatar, 3D, my friend's 3D, I gotta go. Those people are seeing Sherlock Holmes because they tried to see Avatar, and it was sold out at all 4 screens when they went there to see it. And then Karen and I went to go discuss the movie, and we went next door to Buffalo Wild Wings. And by the way, we don't have Buffalo Wild Wings in California, at least we didn't. And I'm going to say that right now we need to get a posse together and drive them out of California. Because Jesus Christ, Buffalo Wild Wings was the worst ever. I mean, it was just this block. Karen got wings, and then I got like boneless wings, which essentially was a huge brick of breading and like a beak inside. That's all it was. It was the worst fucking thing. And then, stop tarting up things with flavors. Nobody needs flavors. They had like fried mushrooms. Look, I'm a fat guy. I like fried mushrooms. I've liked them since I grew up in the Midwest because they were a staple of anybody's diet. You had to have fried mushrooms at your communion, at your first communion. You had to have them when you were confirmed. You had to have them when you graduated 8th grade. It's a staple. Everybody eats fried mushrooms. So, that's most of that is a lie, but I enjoy fried mushrooms. And then sure enough, they had them on the menu, but they were like fried roasted garlic mushrooms. And then you eat them, and then it's like, oh, dude, they tasted like sadness. They were just so fucking bad. I was so disappointed in them. I'm like, oh, because I wanted to love them. I love fried mushrooms. And then they had this. They tarted it up with like a sauce. Fuck sauce. I'm not a sauce guy, folks. I told you that, right? I gotta call James Cameron, get him to ban all sauce. That guy runs the fucking show. You know what? I gotta get him. I'll talk to him about Corpse Vagina of Winter. He can get it. If anybody can get it to catch on, he can get it to catch on. He can go ahead and make sure that everybody says Corpse Vagina of Winter. Again, the Dog Days of Summer, February and January, these are the Corpse Vagina of Winter. Again, a struggle to get through, and you have to deal with it once every year. All right. Sorry, that entertained me earlier. But again, if anybody could do it, Cameron could do it. He could make, you know what? Wait for the technology for that for 20 years. Go ahead, wait for the technology to be invented and then make the 3D movie Corpse Vagina of Winter, because I can't imagine the lines around the block for that. Good, awful Christ. But it's so funny when you see the 3D in this movie. It's just, I mean, it's right in your face, and then you want to bang the blue alien chick. You're like, and then inevitably your mind drifts to 3D porn. You think, oh man, what if they did 3D porn? That'd be great. But maybe it wouldn't be as great as I'm thinking. It's like it's great in theory, until you're in the theater and you'd have to duck every 5 minutes. You know what I mean? That'd be awful. I don't know. All right. I was in the theater. It was so funny after Avatar ends. It's the movie's great. All right, I think the movie's great. Is it flawed? Yes, but at the same time, you have to look at it in a larger sense. You have to look at it as a almost as if it's a cultural event. I think you have to look at it. And I'm not saying you can't have your opinions, but I'm saying you're wrong if you say that it was bad. Because when we were leaving, there were two women. Karen and I, there were women who walked past us, and one of them said, "So here's what I think the flaws were," and her friend goes, "Flaws?" Like this, like completely incredulous that after seeing this amazing achievement, the first thing her friend would want to talk about were the flaws of Avatar. And it made me laugh out loud. Like I laughed like because they were walking up and it's two girls and the one goes, "Here's what I think the flaws were." And the woman goes, "Flaws?" And I went, "Ha ha!" And they both looked at me and I go, "That's hilarious that she wants to talk about the flaws." And you're like, "Flaws?" And they both, thankfully, I was able to get them over their differences because I gave them something to hate, to universally hate. The two of them just kind of looked at me and just scoffed and made faces and then silently walked past me and walked to their car. So I was able to nip the discussion of flaws in the bud, except for the fact that I have one main flaw, and that's getting involved in other people's conversations and laughing out loud. Because they both looked at me as if I was crazy rude. But I wasn't rude. I just thought it was a really funny exchange. But they wanted, I thought they would... Because again, you walk out of a movie, especially a movie like that, you feel almost this camaraderie with everybody. Like, hey, we all just went through that. That was great. It's like the same thing when you see a bad movie. When you see a fucking awful movie and you walk out of the theater, you're all on your way to a MASH unit. Like you're just these triage patients who you're like, well, fuck, we went through that together. You almost want to get phone numbers from everybody so you can have a support group every day, every year on that day from that point on to go, Jesus Christ, remember when we sat through The Happening on this day? Oh, God, was it awful. Oh, Mark Wahlberg is a teacher. Who the fuck was thinking of that? How great would that be? If you saw a bad movie and then you just decided at the end of it, everybody had to give each other their phone number, and then every year on that date, you would get together to commemorate how awful that fucking movie was. That's even more fun than a good movie. Forget it. Don't do that in a good movie because universally we all feel a good movie. But if you all have a bad movie experience, I think it should be a communal experience. And as an audience, you should come together as one organism and celebrate it every single fucking year. I think that's a great plan.
You're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy, and coming up, who would win in a fight? A spirited debate about dream matchups the world needs to see.
Okay, so we had Zach and Screech against Fonzie and Ponzi. We covered that.
Yes.
We covered Muhammad Ali versus Michael J. Fox.
Yes.
Okay, we took care of that. And you had one that you really wanted to bring up.
Okay, this is in the theme of Stephen King classic villains. Randall Flagg versus Pennywise the Clown.
Pennywise the Clown, done.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me? Pennywise the Clown. Clowns are frightening. Clowns are scary. Randall Flagg, absolutely. The Crow, The Stand is brilliant. But I'm sorry, Pennywise the Clown, just for the scene where his face turns into a skull.
2 words. Randall Flagg is the devil.
Okay. All right, we're going to have to agree to disagree on this. But
Fine.
What I really want to find out, I had this, the entire band of Bon Jovi armed with slingshots versus a tiger with AIDS.
Verbal punches and bunches on every episode of Who Would Win in a Fight on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network.
AIDS?
This is the corpse vagina of podcasts. You want to talk about a struggle to get through? Jesus. Because I sat down and my head is spinning, like literally. I mean, not literally spinning. I got to stop saying literally. There's a lot of things I got to stop saying. You know who pointed out to me? The Christmas elves. They pointed out to me the last... Seamus and Louie really brought home the fact that I say things quite a bit. All right. But they're finished. They're gone. I can't... they won't be with us this week. Sad, huh? Really? I should just play them to fill time, honestly, because this is a death cast. Because I can't... I'm yeah, exactly. My head is just, it is like I'm dizzy. You don't care about it? What do you care? You're not a doctor? Are you a doctor? All right. I didn't do anything the past week. I'm sorry, it was New Year's. So what did I do? I didn't go out for New Year's, I can tell you that, because my friend Lily would not invite me to her balloon festival, and then there were other people. Lily had like a thing. It was so funny last week. Lily, she kept saying what she was doing for New Year's, and Karen and I were making a joke in our heads. We're like, are we gonna get invited to this thing? And we kept waiting to be invited, but we never did. So then it became a joke where I would keep giving her opportunities to invite us. Like I'd ask about what she was doing on New Year's, and then she'd just say, "Oh yeah, balloon festival," and I'd go, "Okay," and I'd wait for the inevitable, "You want to come to the balloon festival?" Nope, didn't happen. And then I talked to her today, and I explained to her that I kept trying to make her invite me, and she goes, "Oh, it wasn't my party. I couldn't invite you to the balloon festival, and also I didn't think you'd like it very much and then you'd make fun of it on the podcast." Well, here's the thing. I don't think I would have made fun of it because it would have been nice to be invited. It was just a generous invitation, and at the same time, it sounds ludicrous, and I'm glad I didn't go. But you want to be invited to places, don't you, folks? Like here, how does this sound? Hey, folks, come on over this weekend, and we'll all hang out and watch TV. See, wasn't that nice? That was a nice invitation I've extended to all of you who listen, who, quite frankly, have stopped listening a long time ago for this week, because you're like, he's got nothing. I'm like, yep, I don't. Because I didn't do anything, man. It was New Year's night. My wife and I went and had sushi, and then we went grocery shopping, and I was home by 10:30. That's how I worked it. Because for years, I would be out in gin-smoked clubs. Gin-smoked clubs? I was going to say gin mills and smoke-filled rooms. But instead, I don't know why I'd be even in a gin mill. Why would I bring that up? Apparently, I've been working in clubs since the teens, since like 1911. Since before, Elliot Ness charged in with an axe and smashed open an oaken barrel of whiskey, I was working in those clubs, folks. I was there the night that Ray Liotta came in through the kitchen in a one-shot and they set a table up in the front row at the Copa for him to see Bobby Vinton and me. That's where I've been working, folks, in these gin mills. I'm an idiot. No, so normally for New Year's, I'm as a comic, which I used to be a comic. I don't know if you folks are aware of that. I know this show hasn't been funny, but go listen like 4 episodes ago. I'm sure there was Mondo hilarity that will bring home the fact that I used to entertain masses of people at once, as opposed to this week where I'm sporadically hit or missing with 1 or 2 of you. And I've stopped shitting on the show. I mean, because I actually got like emails from people who were like, "Dude, you got to stop saying that nobody likes the show because you're decreasing the value of your product." It's like, well, no, because if you listen to the show, I don't feel that way. I think the show's fucking great, but I can call it when I see it. And if certain shows are a bust, hey man, the show's a bust. What do you want? It's fucking free. So, but this, I call it like I see it, folks. And again, because I fully recognize where I stand in the entertainment industry after seeing Avatar. I'm nobody, man. I'm an unpopped kernel of popcorn in that fucking theater compared to Cameron and Avatar. Jesus Christ. And we all are, but I'm going to go ahead and speak just for myself, folks. I don't want to. Perhaps you see yourselves on a level with a Cameron. Perhaps you'll come out and blow me away with something yourself. But I can tell you that because I like to think that I'm in show business, and then you go see Avatar, and it's driven home quite severely that you are not even close, man. Because I can tell you I'm making no money, so this certainly isn't a business. And this week I can tell you there is no show, so I find myself dwarfed in the shadow of Cameron. I don't know how to deal with that, quite frankly. We didn't do anything for New Year's, my wife and I. Normally, I'm out doing stand-up. Like every year, I do stand-up because that's when you make your money. I mean, New Year's is a time to go ahead and make money because they're making money, so they're willing to pay a little more. And so I've always worked New Year's, and this year I did not. I was home, and Karen and I went and had sushi. We were home by 10:30, and then we watched. I watched CNN. And I saw Kathy Griffin and Anderson Cooper and Lance Bass. In true, what CNN should have just called, I think it was the Cock News Network that night, because it was the gayest presentation. They actually went to Key West for and had a drag queen drop from the ceiling. And it was seriously, it could not have been more gay if Anderson Cooper had finally come out of the closet. Honestly, that's what's funny is Anderson Cooper's gay. Okay, and watching the show, I don't even know why they bring in Kathy Griffin because the whole show is Anderson Cooper petrified that she's going to out him like that. That's like. And it's funny, CNN brings in, I remember last year they brought her in and she swore on the air or something. I remember reading about it. And this year I actually turned it on. I watched part of it. And man, I got to be honest. I got to go back to working in clubs after watching what you folks have had to endure at home every year. I used to think working on New Year's Eve sucked because it's like, you do 2 or 3 shows a night, and everybody says it's amateur night, and it is in clubs because the people who come to comedy clubs on New Year's Eve they're out for any other reason than comedy. I mean, they're just there to drink and make noise. So New Year's Eve is just babysitting. That's why I pay so well when you go out and do it, because it's literally just a babysitting extravaganza. And the worst is when you go to a club that doesn't know how to run New Year's Eve, which has happened to me. Most of the clubs I've worked at on New Year's Eve, they knew how to do it. So what they do is they end the show 10 minutes early, and they pass out all the noisemakers and goofy hats and whatever, and then the comics are on stage, they do a champagne toast, and they count it down, and everybody's happy. But I've been in clubs that give out the noisemakers to the late show when they arrive. So there's nothing worse than being on stage and it's like, hey, what's happening? I'm Mike Schmidt. Okay. This is going to be a long fucking 30 minutes, which I'm sure is something you folks all said as this show progressed. You're listening going, this is going to be a long 30 minutes, knowing that it was going to be actually longer than that. But I'm telling you, after watching CNN, and it's so they bring in Kathy Griffin, who I guess last year swore, and then CNN wasn't happy, so then, of course, they hire her again this year, and the whole point of Kathy Griffin is she exists to say whatever the fuck she wants to say. That she's well past worrying about what anybody has to say about her, because no matter what happens, she's always going to play gay cruises and make thousands of dollars the rest of her life. So she doesn't have to be scared of anybody or anything, so she can say whatever the fuck she wants. So you know who knows that? Anderson Cooper, and he's waiting for her to just call him gay right there on the air. He's waiting to be outed. And I guess this year, that's why they threw Lance Bass into the mix, figuring that all of Kathy's gay attention would be drawn to that guy who, honestly, if you open your window, do you hear that outside? That's not a tea kettle. That's Lance Bass pronouncing S's. Still, at this point. I don't know how he did it. Everything he sounded like, he sounded like a gay guy hitting on you. Everything he said, didn't matter what he said. His S's were so, I feel bad for his family must have known. He must have come out gay, and that's why they named him Lance. I mean, seriously. Because Bass is bad enough, but then they had to throw Lance in there. That guy says his own name at any time, day or night, and Fred Phelps wakes up out of a dead sleep in a cold sweat. He is so upset that Lance Bass even exists. Just the very idea of Lance Bass saying anything with an S in it makes Fred Phelps just go, oh, Christ, I got to write another handwritten sign about how much I hate fags. All right, so... But I watched the show and it's like, oh my God, how gay was it? And then Anderson Cooper, he won't even talk. Like I said, he's just rigid, frozen, because he doesn't know what Kathy Griffin's going to say, quite frankly. And then I found out the next day that, again, they're mad. CNN is mad at Kathy Griffin. Why the fuck do you keep bringing her in then? It's just, again, it's all wrestling. When you hear that CNN is upset about it, they're not upset because they got exactly what they wanted. They brought in Kathy Griffin to be crazy and controversial and outrageous. And guess what? The next day she was. So then CNN has to fake like they're upset because they're a news network, even though they're not. They're not a fucking news network. Dude, they have Nancy Grace on their network. They are not a news network. That'd be a fun name for Lance Bass to say, actually. Nancy Grace. How many S's are in Bass? When he pronounces, literally, it takes him 9 minutes to say his own last name. Bass. All right, so I'm an idiot. But I can tell you, no matter what, Cockfest on CNN, a million times better than anything else you're going to watch on New Year's Eve. Because I will say, I was stunned. In Chicago, the local networks do their own coverage of New Year's Eve, which is always great because there's nothing better than seeing a local sportscaster try to be funny for an hour and a half with a local DJ. I mean, it's just terrible to watch. But I was shocked that in Los Angeles, they didn't have any local coverage. There was no... I thought, because all the anchor people out here are fucking celebrities, so you would imagine that they would have some sort of show, but none of the channels, 257... 9. Why am I going to run down channels for you folks? None of the local channels did. They all had the national coverage. And so inevitably you wind up on ABC watching Ryan Seacrest try to deal with the fact that he has to babysit the corpse of Dick Clark for 3 hours. Folks, look, we've got to do something. All right? Right? We all have to get together. I don't even think a letter writing campaign is going to do it at this point. We just need to march on ABC and explain to them that the Dick Clark thing is no longer working. I know that they're loyal to him, and he's hosted it for years, but I don't care if your comfort level is disturbed by having Dick Clark gone. The rest of us need him gone. I know for years it was Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve, but now it's Dick Clark's Frightening Countenance. That's the name of the show. Literally, it's Dick Clark's drooling out the new year. That's what it is. Jesus Christ, is it painful to watch. And it's so funny. You know what? Fucking Dick Clark needs an avatar. That's what he needs. If you could have an avatar and sit in for Dick Clark, then that would be fine. And be honest with yourself, would it be any less jarring to tune in and see an 8-foot blue alien than it is to see a guy who can't move his mouth when he talks? No, it wouldn't be. Holy God, Dick Clark. You're beloved. We loved you. But it's okay to be sick, and it's okay to retire and move on to your family. And nobody wants to see you in this condition, this state. Nobody. Jesus Christ, they might as well hire Jeff Dunham to put a hand in his back. It is awful. Because, again, I would watch if I wanted to watch a show on New Year's Eve with a guy who talked without moving his mouth, I would watch Jeff Dunham. Seacrest, I mean, I never thought I would be so desperate to hear Ryan Seacrest say anything in my life. I turn on ABC and you see Dick Clark's just reanimated body sitting there and he's trying to get out a sentence. Lance Bass isn't so bad, he's off the hook because Dick Clark prays that he can pronounce an S someday. Yeah, I'm kicking this guy when he's down, but you know what? He is now tormenting us with this. I didn't realize how bad it was. I haven't watched it, okay? I've heard of it, but I tuned it on the other day, and I'm like, oh, you are, oh no. Because I thought he was like the New Year's guy emeritus. Okay, I thought maybe he did a little state of the new year where he came out in the beginning of the show and said something like, "Hi, it's our New Year celebration, Ryan Seacrest, and let's kick it all off. Thank you for having me a part of your New Year." And then they quietly sent him back to his home, where you didn't have to wonder whether or not his lips worked and how he drinks a glass of water. I mean, the whole time you're watching him, aren't you wondering those things? Aren't you saying, what I'm wondering is, you know what, dude, the entertainment industry, again, they don't have a lot of taste, and they're certainly not discerning with a lot of things they put on the air. I got to watch people fighting on an island. I got to watch the toughest salon owner in America. I mean, there's a lot of bullshit that they put on the air. But Jesus Christ, to actually submit and subject America to a guy who, I mean, that's just sadness, right? I'm not wrong watching that show because he keeps coming back. Like I said, if he did that kickoff thing in the beginning where he was just like, hey, guess what? Things are going great for New Year's, although I'm certainly not reminding you of anything good in the new year because, I'm wondering, like, if the hinges on his jaw don't work, I can't even, oh, Christ, the whole time, I'm wondering why they don't just sit him down and get rid of him. I mean, are they all scared? Is that what it is? Are they frightened? Are the people at ABC scared out of their minds that, like, all these young executives, they remember him and he was a legend, and so no one wants to, they don't have the balls to go in and tell him that he's finished? Because you know what? TV is, I mean, you don't just get to be on television because you're famous and you've been famous for so long. It's not like you're grandfathered in. I mean, they could fucking fire him at any time, couldn't they? Lily said that the show's still the top-rated show. Yeah, but now it's for a completely different reason. Now, I think Schadenfreude is involved, and all of us are waiting to see if he's just officially going to drop dead right there on the goddamn show when the ball lands. If he insists on being on that show, his usefulness as a television personality has certainly expired. We all agree with that, yes? And Dick Clark is, the painting in his attic is not getting any younger, so obviously the spell has worn off. His deal with Satan is coming up, so he's about to check out, right? He's going to die soon. So why wouldn't he blaze a glory at and just fucking host one last show and then let the ball land on him and die? I mean, why wouldn't he do that? Just go ahead and fucking, or just, and strap himself to a giant rocket and fucking shoot in the air and explode all over fucking New York. And then, it's like Happy New Year showered with Dick Clark's guts. Why wouldn't you fucking do that? This guy knows he's finished. I just don't understand why they can't sit him down and tell him what's up. I understand, because again, Lily said that the ratings are great. I mean, but it's a completely different rating at this point. We're all just waiting for. You know what would be even funnier? Go ahead and pair up Kathy Griffin with Dick Clark. Go ahead and do that. Let's see how long she can hold her tongue about the fact that he can't use his anymore. I mean, let's see if she was able to go ahead and be quiet and how respectful she would be. Oh Christ, I need to book myself in clubs. That's the bottom line, because if that's the stuff you guys are suffering through on New Year's Eve, I guess I didn't mind working.
So the I'm walking out of the mall, and this guy.
This is the way the podcast ends. This is the way the podcast ends. This is the way the podcast ends. Not with a whimper, but with a bang.
You know, seriously. You know what? Fuck all that.
The 40-Year-Old Boy. Subscribe today before it's too late. We now return to the 40-Year-Old Boy.
This show's a rain out. Seriously, this show needs a referee just counting to 10 and waving over it. This is a fucking grim turn of events. I need a grounds crew to just pull a fucking tarp out. Let's have a delay for this goddamn show. This is horrendous. I apologize. I just, it's funny because we just took the break, and I said to Lily, I'm like, man, this is awful. And she goes, hey, you're just having a bad night. It happens to everybody. And I'm like, and so immediately my tiny brain goes, oh, so it's as bad as I think it is. And she's like, no, it's not bad. It's funny. And I'm just like, don't even, please. I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to try to save me, because again, I'm as bad as my wife, where I'm out fishing for whatever, and I pull in a boot, and I'm surprised that I pulled in a boot. I know I've got a boot here. This show's a boot, folks. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. Apparently, I'm Canadian. But yeah, I didn't do anything. I haven't done anything this past week, except fucking watch Kathy Griffin, Dick Clark, and then go out at midnight and throw Snappin' Pops in my courtyard. And that's what we did. Karen and I went outside. Everybody else was off doing whatever they were going to do. We were alone in our apartment complex, and we went out, and I threw Snappin' Pops against the wall, and then made, like, I will tell you this about Snappin' Pops. I thought they just made a fun explosion noise, and everybody was happy. But they also leave, like, a big black spot. So I was trying to make Karen laugh, so I would run, and I would throw handfuls of Snappin' Pops against the wall, and we'd laugh. And then by the time I finished, it looked like the lost smoke monster had disappeared into the fucking wall of my apartment complex. So couple that with the fact that there were streamers from, we pulled poppers, and those like, yay, and it shoots out paper streamers. Those were all over the ground. And then the Snappin' Pops. And we had we had a little 2-man party out there in the courtyard just to celebrate New Year's. Yeah, it was great. Hold on.
It was. That's fun.
Sure. Yeah, you see that, folks? I'm boring the shit out of myself. I mean, again, if this wasn't free, if there was any money involved, any sort of monetary recompense, I wouldn't even put this motherfucker up. I would just... Jesus Christ. I should run a best of. Although this week, I got to be honest, there is no best of. I don't think... I'm in that mode, that kind of time. You've done this, folks, where you just all of a sudden you start to question everything you've ever done because what you're doing now isn't working. You do that? Where you're like, oh, man, this isn't good. Boy, have I ever been good? Has anything I've ever said been good? Nothing's good. This is fucking awful. Holy fuck. I wish I was on a roof. I'd jump. But I wouldn't jump because, again, you know what I would do? Here's what happened. I would jump off a roof to kill myself, and I would land on a pack of Girl Scouts. And then inevitably I would be charged with murder because they would think I meant to do it, like I was leaping, using my fat as a weapon to crush Girl Scouts. And that's not happening, folks. That's not what I do. I was trying to end it all for myself. It's not my fault that the Brownie Troop 311 came through and got fucking spoked. Spoked? I was going to say smoked, and I don't even know what spoked. Jesus Christ. I don't, you know what, folks? Go find another podcast to listen to this week. Just to delete this. I know, like I said, I know some people are tired of when I bitch, but I haven't bitched in a while. Have I? I haven't bitched. Hold on, I'm going to yawn again. And it's fully fucking I'm leaving them in this week because they're fucking terrible. This is just, I should just close it up. I didn't do anything. Talk about my audition. I went on an audition, but there's nothing new to report. I do one audition every 3 months, and then I tell you about it, and then what? I do the same one 3 months later, and the same shit happens? Nobody wants to hear that. I Twittered stuff from the audition yesterday, because you know what? Here's the thing. When I go out and do stuff, then I Twitter it, and it's fun. But I don't Twitter much stuff, because A, I don't want to bother people, and B, I don't do a lot of fucking stuff. I was going to Twitter about Avatar. It's funny. I Twittered a bunch of stuff yesterday about my audition, and then a guy wrote me back, and he's like, I can't believe you're wasting all this good podcast material. And part of me was like, yeah, he's right, because I don't have fuck all to talk about this week. But then part of me was like, you know what? Hold on, I'm going to yawn again, folks. That's right. I'm dizzy. I'm fucking yawning. Jesus Christ. I need an IV. I just need to fucking... I might be just... You know what? I might be getting diabetes as we speak, folks. That might be happening right now. I got to go to the dentist. I got a second mouth to worry about tomorrow. Head is spinning. Fucking fillings are going to get yanked. Lily already told me the show blows. I know it blows. I don't need your fucking reinforcement of it. But it wasn't. She wasn't even doing that. She's trying to just boost me up. That's what she's doing. She fake laughs all through a fucking shit show, and then she's just like, "Look, man, you're having a bad night." Well, she's just trying to pick me up, but all I hear is, "Oh, you're having a bad night, dick." But that's not true. That's not what happened, and that's not what she meant at all. She's being helpful and nice, and yet, unfortunately, my tiny fucking brain, dude, 2010 is horrible. I'm not gonna lie. Already, what are we? 10 days in? 5 days in? 6 days in? Oh Christ! I need a gun. If I had a gun, that would be an exciting. I'd have an end. If I had a gun, there'd be an end to this show. I've joked about it. I even did a fucking fake promo where I'm like, "Oh man, you hear me talking and the fucking gunshot ends, and you just hear Lily laugh." Yes, absolutely. This is the week to do that. If I was going to shoot myself in the fucking head, this would be the week to do it. Yeah.
I got a gun.
Do you really have a gun?
Yeah.
Go get it.
No fucking way.
Get it. No, I'm serious.
No way. My $500 fans are over there. All my wigs are over there. I am not letting you get blood and brain on my...
I'm not going to shoot myself, but I mean, if I fuck around with a gun, maybe something funny will happen. Seriously, go get me a gun, because I'm not going to kill myself. Come on. I still think, Christ, I've done good shows. Just because you do one bad free show doesn't mean you should go ahead and fucking put a cap in your head. But at the same fucking time, maybe if you get me a gun, we got something to talk about. Something funny happens. Let's play Russian roulette. You and I play Russian roulette. That'd be fucking great. That'd be awesome. See, because then we got something to talk about. Then we got a goddamn show, folks. Then we got stuff happening. Then we got stuff. There's stuff on the line. Seriously, who the fuck am I to bitch about Dick Clark? Honestly. That guy's mouth doesn't work, and he had better and more to say than I've had this entire goddamn episode. Jesus Christ. I'm sitting here bitching about Dick Clark and the fact that he can't talk. You guys are probably going, shit, I wish your mouth didn't fucking work.
Do Dick.
Should I just do that? Yeah, I should just fucking talk like Dick Clark the rest of the goddamn show. You know what? Get me a gun. Get me a fucking gun, and we got a show. Something will happen. Something will get shot. I'll put a bullet through the wall, and maybe your roommate will have to duck. Something good will happen. I had a show with Eric where we went and shot guns, and I hated it because, again, it felt important to me, and I didn't like it. But, fuck, I'm desperate at this goddamn point. Anything to save the third act. Anything. I shouldn't even give my contact information at the end of this goddamn show because nobody's going to want to write me. If anything, they want to write me to just go, dude, seriously, are you okay? Part of me even thought about, because I got stuff going on, folks, and I usually tell you everything and all that, but there's no point. There's no point in going into all that. All I can, let's just deal with the physical part of it right now. I got a fucking hole in my hand, and I can't. I'm so dizzy I can barely stand up. I got to drive home. That would be fun. Let's get in the car and I'll drive home, and let's record me trying to drive while I'm all fucking dizzy and ready to crash. Oh, Jesus, God, I have nothing, folks. There was stuff to talk about. I had some stuff, and I'm like, it's not even. I am not in the mood at all. I'm not. And again, it's a free gig, and I always bitch, and I tell you guys, hey, look, it's free, but I still try to come through for you with a good show. I still try to make sure that it's entertaining or fun, and I'm always able to find traction. Like I'm always able to. But I can't lie to you, man. It started with Avatar. That sent me for a fucking loop. I'm not even joking. I went and saw it, and I walked out of there just going, dude, you're 42. What have you done? What are you doing? And isn't it funny that a movie made me think that? It wasn't anybody, it wasn't the first black president, or it wasn't any of these people accomplishing, winning Nobel Prizes, or anybody inventing shit or discovering cures for whatever. None of that. That doesn't faze me in the fucking least. But I go see a movie where a bunch of fucking sea monkeys are running around on a fake planet, and a guy invented a language. And it makes me reassess where I'm at in my career and my life and what I've done with it. Or more realistically, what I haven't fucking done with it. I'm putting out a show where I'm not even editing out the yawns. Jesus Christ. Cameron made Avatar, and, he fucking amazingly invented the technology, invented a language and a world, and invented aliens, and sure, he cast, there's a bunch of fucking misfires in the script. Yes, I get that, but so fucking what? It doesn't matter. In his sleep, that guy's doing more shit and better shit than I'm doing. Holy God, this is horrendous. Gee, and I know you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear me keep telling you how fucking horrible this is. And I'm sure I should have quit while I was fucking ahead and just ended on the second act and said, you know what, guys? Because I honestly thought about just throwing in the towel and just going, you know what? I'm sick. Because I am. My fucking head's all fucked up. I don't know what the hell it is. But yet I'm like, you know what? Soldier through. You can do this, dude. Because I did a fucking clip show last season. And I'm like, I can't do another goddamn clip show. It's horrendous. And I already took a week off for being sick this year. Oh, Jesus God. All right. I wish I would yawn because I would have something to talk about or something would happen. If anything would happen. Where are we at? Seriously, what's the time?
We're at 48 minutes.
48 minutes. That's it. I honestly, I'm calling it. You know what? I'm like, yeah, no, it's like I need a time of death right now, seriously, because this is the death cast. I need a time of death. Call it. Give me, seriously, I need you to call it.
Time of death is 48 minutes and 47 seconds.
But give me the actual time.
That's it.
All right, no, what time is it?
I'm sorry.
And then call it.
Time of death, 7:01 and 14 seconds Pacific time.
You guys can get me at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can get me at. I got to take that over. No, leave that in. Leave it in. That's how horrible it is. I even have to take over the fucking the exit. A thing I say every goddamn week, folks. Every goddamn week I say it, and yet I have to retake that because I just fucked it up. How did I chili dip this entire goddamn show? Because again, it started with motherfucking Avatar. I saw it and it made me go, dude, what are you doing? You're doing nothing at all. Seriously. I sat there in awe of the accomplishment. The last time I felt like this was like, I think I talked about it on here. I saw Black Hawk Down. I was with Pardo in fucking in El Paso, Texas. We watched Black Hawk Down. I walked out of there like with this glazed look on my face because I couldn't believe that anybody could do something like that. Just the accomplishment, the sheer amazing accomplishment of producing something like that. And here I sit, we're fretting over a podcast. It's just. It just all is put into perspective, isn't it really at this point, folks? You sit at your kitchen table and you try to pay your bills and you think to yourself, you know what, I got to get my kids through college. There's all this stuff coming up in the future. And then you go see Avatar and you go, fuck, why am I even doing any of this? Fucking Deathcast. Call it.
7:02 and 37 seconds Pacific time.
You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can get me at MySpace.com/MikeSchmidtComedy. Follow me on Twitter. There's funny on there at some point, right? Isn't there? I think there is. Twitter.com/the40year-old-boy. You guys can be my friend at Facebook. Or if you, I wouldn't blame you if you stopped being my friend. You can go to Facebook.com/the40year-old-boy and disassociate yourself from me entirely. Because this is a fucking brick. I can't lie to you. You know what? Write Lily. Go ahead and be Lily's friend at Facebook.com/LilyVonStupp and send her some sympathy cards for having to sit through this fucking nonsense this week. And also go ahead and write her at Lily at burlesque411.com and offer her a job or something that she could do with her Wednesdays that's productive with somebody who has a future and is going somewhere. Please go ahead and write her. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com. Hey, what's happening? It's me, Mike, host of the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast. I wanted to tell you guys about the Year One download set that's available at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. It's got all the original music. It's got all the original episodes of Year One, 52 solid episodes of comedy. And it's also got all the liner notes that I wrote for the original episodes themselves. So go ahead and order that. Pick it up. You'll enjoy Year One just as much as you're enjoying Year Two right now. What? That noise in the background? Oh, yeah, that's me beating the dead horse as I try to sell you Year One over and over again. So go ahead and pick up the Year One download set from MikeSchmidtComedy.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the 40-Year-Old Boy. 52 episodes, $25, one brutally funny podcast. Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Tease every Monday night. This particular Monday night is a special Monday night coming up. That's the 11th, yes?
Yes.
It is the Laugh-In show. It is also Lily Von Stupp's birthday show. So come on out and celebrate Lily Von Stupp's birthday with her. Make sure you smack her on the ass if you're from this show. Go ahead and do that. She will allow that. Only if you're from this show, though. If you're from somewhere else, do not smack her on the ass, please. She will not have any of it. Hold on. She's in. Things have changed.
It's her birthday.
Yeah, it's her birthday. What the hell? Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's all sorts of spanking going on. So make sure you go to the show. I'll actually be there. I'm not in the show, but I'll be there. Come up and say hi if you come out to the 40-year-old boy burlesque show. Yeah, that's what it is. The Monday Night Tease show on January 11th. So go out to that. It is at Santa Monica and Vine at the 3 clubs. Go ahead and check it out. It's every Monday night, but this particular Monday night, big show, birthday show, laugh-in show. Go see Lily do her best Joanne Worley extravaganza. And there'll be a wall built at some point, right? Won't there be a wall? Yeah, she's got to do that. She's got to do that in the next couple of days. So that'll be fun to watch. And that's it, man. There's not even a fucking ramp out here. There's no point. This doesn't even deserve artwork, this show. There shouldn't even be music. There shouldn't be anything involved at all. I'm too fucking dizzy. I can't even, I literally twist my head. I don't know if it's my brain. What am I? Good fucking, again, now, why am I even doing this? It's pointless and dumb. I told Max, I go, dude, you should just draw a towel being thrown in. That's what this show should be. Literally just a towel flying through the air. That's all you should see for this show. I'm a dick, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a decent guy because I am a jerk. And I'm not a jerk. Man, I'm an awful guy. I'm not an awful guy. I am not a good guy. But I don't think I'm a bad person overall. So, and go ahead and by all means judge that. I'm kind of a jagoff. I got no future. What am I talking about? But I am a jagoff. And I'm not a jerk. I'm a nice guy. It's just I guess I have jerky tendencies. I've done so much ridiculous stuff, and then I wonder afterwards, I'm like, man, how come I don't hang out with anybody? Here's why, because you're a dick. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished.